Hello to everybody. Welcome here, welcome to Spain. Bienvenidos, bienvenue, willkommen, bienvenuto, Alessandra, and benvingut in Valencia. When the people from Gaia-X ASBL, they told us that they wanted to organize in Spain, we have immediately said, you need to come to Valencia. You can see from here everything what Valencia has. It's not only holidays, you can see in the other place with the beaches and everything from Valencia, but you have also the industry. You see the old industry port is one of the main ports in Mediterranean Sea, but also you have the accelerator of Lanzadera. Lanzadera is there. It's the biggest accelerator for startups in Spain. So in Valencia, you have everything. And also, of course, we wanted to support the people from the Dana, from the float, the terrible float we had in Valencia last year. We wanted to support them. Therefore, we have decided to organize the workshop and the Market-X, Tech-X in Valencia. But now the main person who wants to give the welcome to you is the CEO from Gaia-X ASBL, Ulrich Halle. Welcome to the floor.
Yeah, Paki, thank you very much, and very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Market-X, Tech-X hackathon of Gaia-X here in this really, really beautiful setting. Thank you, Paki, thank you, Dani, for hosting us here as being responsible for the Spanish Gaia-X hub, with whom we are organizing this event, these 2 days, together with you. You mentioned the flood. We will hear a bit about it before lunch. And as you said, it is one of the reasons why we came here. And it reminds me a bit on my former role as CEO of Fiverr, when we decided 1 year to have a Fiverr Global Summit in Genoa. And then shortly after this decision, the bridge broke down in Genoa. You might remember this terrible accident there, and they had to rebuild the bridge, and it was a major undertaking. And I had a meeting with the mayor of Genoa discussing, should we really have our summit here? And he said, yes, we are still open and it would help us. And it was one of the really greatest Fiverr summits we had in this city after this accident. And as I said, we will hear more about the flooding before lunch. Still, it is great to be here in this environment. It is great to be here to talk about data, to talk about how data can and will improve the economy. Not only in Europe, we are becoming more and more global with our initiatives. And let me start with a forecast on the data market in Europe. And you see here growth rates for the period till 2030, that Europe's data economy will reach $1 trillion, and with 8.6% cumulated or compound annual growth rate, which is really a large growth. And this requires an increasing amount of data professionals. You see here an estimation, 11.6 million data professionals will work in this, more than 300,000 data supplier companies, and the overall cloud computing market. And be reminded on the slogan Pierre created last year, data does not flow on rainbows. So we are not only talking about data, we are not only talking about data spaces, but we are talking about the underlying cloud infrastructure. Both belong together. And also here it is important to work on what the Data Act is targeting for, to enable multi-cloud environments, to enable easy switching from one to another cloud provider, to enable to avoid vendor lock-ins, And that is something our service provider, Sounding Board, is working on. So the data market is clearly growing, not only in Europe, but globally. Still, there is a challenge in Europe, and I'm sure most of you have heard or have even read the Draghi report, the famous Draghi report. And one of his statements here is the key driver of the rising productivity gap between Europe and the US has been digital technology. So we need to increase our capabilities in Europe, as 70% of the AI foundation models today have been developed in the US. And here it says 65%, there are even a bit higher figures, of global and European cloud markets are controlled by 3 US hyperscalers. Clear statement on hyperscalers. We are working together with hyperscalers, but still we are also enabling European cloud service providers to gain market share. Because the situation is that over the last years, as the market is really dramatically growing, the growth rate of the hyperscalers is higher than the growth rate of the European players, which means in total, European players have lost market share in the European market. And with the upcoming clear discussion on European sovereignty, which we reflected, and we will come to that more in detail during these 2 days, with the Gaia-X compliance document, there is a need to strengthen also the European providers. And another clear statement, AI as key driver of the economic growth and innovation. And here, data is crucial for AI. Without data, no AI. And there's a paradox. Europe produces amounts of industrial data, but this data remains within companies and industries in silos, not accessible for AI solutions. There are reasons for that, and I'll come to that in a minute. Second part, second statement from Draghi, the EU should promote cross-industry coordination and data sharing to accelerate the integration of AI into European industry. Today, not enough companies are using and utilizing AI, and he's proposing to develop a strategic AI integration in 10 key industries which are relevant for Europe, and cross-industry data pooling to overcome Europe's lack of large data sets. So, in total, the EU must leverage its data sharing ecosystem to enable EU vertical AI priorities plan. Artificial intelligence and data spaces based on a federated cloud infrastructure belong together. There is a clear coexistence of this. And here, the current status of where we are. There is sufficient, or at least significant, whether it's sufficient can also be always be discussed, but there is significant national and EU funding which is supporting the development of data spaces since 2019. And we have a regulatory framework established. Also, this is discussed. Are we over-regulating in Europe? We had our experiences in all of our member states with GDPR when it was introduced, I think, 7 years ago, something like that. in the first 2-3 years struggling with the adoption of GDPR, some overreactions in some countries who like to follow regulations. I'm a German, for example, in Germany, but now we got used to it. We found ways really to handle it, to benefit from it, because it's creating also trust in the handling of data. And GDPR is adopted in the meantime in a lot of regions also outside of Europe. And I'm expecting that the Data Governance Act, the Data Act, will follow a similar path. And we also had first experiences with data spaces becoming productive. Ac Data Hub from France is an example where a well-functioning technical data space has been established, but it was not possible in that case to establish a sufficient data model to be able to sustainably operate it. And therefore, end of last year, Ac Data Hub had to declare bankruptcy and stopped operations. A clear lessons learned, which is helping our ecosystem to develop sufficient models. And this is taken over by new programs which are starting now, like, for example, the projects in France, which clearly had their lessons learned. The new projects like Gaia-X have the clear commitment to develop a sustainable operating system for their data models. It's not just a research project, a development project, but clearly the commitment of the partners to operate the data space afterwards and not to have it finished once the public funding ends. So these new data spaces will clearly support, and I'm more than convinced about that, the further development of the European economy. And will also support the further growth of and adoption of artificial intelligence in the different verticals and ecosystems. This slide, we started to create it last year. It is always in a draft status, so if you find your country and say there are figures missing, or maybe there's a country missing, please reach out to us, reach out to Alessandra. Where's Alessandra? Over there, managing this slide, showing that there is a clear investment into the creation of interoperable data spaces based on a federated cloud infrastructure, and especially this IPSASYS project, which is now being more and more called ORA, is investing into the underlying cloud infrastructure to enable data spaces in different verticals. And you see national fundings on member state level, but also fundings in the different work programs. And as I look at it, Alessandra, we need to add one more line here, because the new work program of Digital Europe for 25 to 27 has been published recently, and there are again several data space calls in there. And for those of you who joined us in Warsaw for the Data Spaces Symposium, have learned about the strategy of China. China has analyzed everything we have done, everything our partners like IDSA, FIVER have done, and have identified the benefits of this data spaces approach, and decided end of last year to create 100 trusted data spaces by end of 2028. So within the next 4 years. And also they identified that it does not make sense to create data silos, because data does not stop on borders, not on country borders, not on continent borders, and therefore the cross-border data spaces with the topic of international cooperation on data spaces is part of their overall program. And as Europeans, and we are here mainly with Europeans, we need to be careful not to be overtaken by China. It is impressive to see the program behind this initiative, and we need to even speed up to be able, also in the future, to define how interoperable data spaces based on a federated cloud infrastructure work. And all of this fits well into the overall strategy of Europe, into the European data strategy, where we have the industrial data spaces in different verticals, in healthcare, in energy, in mobility, in manufacturing, and so on, supported by the Data Spaces Support Center, where within this before mentioned new work program of the European Commission, there's also a call for the Data Spaces Support Center too, and the existing consortium is preparing now to create a proposal for this Data Spaces Support Center 2 project, which will start in the first half of next year. So that's the data side, supported by the Data Governance Act, by the Data Act, and so on. And as I mentioned before, a clear collaboration with the cloud side, where the IPSASIS, the important project of common European interest for the cloud infrastructure services, is part of. And all is also supported by Simple. And as Gaia-X, we are working more and more together with Simple. Simple announced in, Klaus, when was it? In February? January. Their first minimal viable product in their first annual event, and making clear progress now to mainly also to fill the white spots which are still there to create interoperable data spaces. So that's setting the scene for the 2 days. It is about data spaces based on a federated cloud infrastructure. It is about using such data spaces to be shown in the hackathon, which is ongoing in parallel. And this requires a lot of technology. That's what the Tech-X part of these 2 days is about. But it is also about adopting this technology, creating value for the end users from different verticals, as I said, from manufacturing industry, tourism, healthcare, and so on. And I'm looking forward to 2 days full of information, of new content, of meeting new people. This is also what this event is about. We have several exhibitors here on the other side, so during the breaks, don't hesitate to visit them, use the guided tours we are offering, and I'm looking forward to 2 nice days in a beautiful environment here in the Wels event. What is it in English? Does it mean sails and wind, or yeah? So here in this beautiful building in Valencia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ulrich. And continuing with Valencia, so everybody knows about we are speaking about data spaces of tourism. Valencia is very well known, famous for the paella, so gastronomy. But not only for that, maybe you know, if you are coming from agriculture, Valencia is the biggest producer of orange, probably in Europe. And not only orange, also wine. And we have here something, by the way, if somebody doesn't know me, I am Francisca Rubio, Paqui Rubio from Gaia-X Spain. And I will introduce the president of Gaia-X Spain. He has 20 years experience. He's a very smart engineer. But if you ask him, he will say you, I'm in agriculture. And I would like to go to the land to have my wine, grapes, and I would like to work. But he is the president of Gaia-X Spain, and he is the strategic director of ET. Welcome. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, Paqui. It's my pleasure to be here, giving this warm welcome to Spain first, and to Valencia, nice city, and also to our house, to ITI's house here in Valencia. Valencia is a nice city, but nice weather, as you can see, but not just weather, not just nice city. Here we are, we made a few years ago in 2016 the BDBA Valencia Summit. More recently, we made the Alicante Gaia-X Summit in 2023, also European Big Data Value Forum, and now we are completing this sequence of events in a more practical, more applied way, which is this Market-X, Tech-X event. And Valencia is also playing an important role in different initiatives. Maybe David will talk about this later. But we are leading the south node of the sitcom TEF. We are also leading the Cityverse EDIC. The Valencia city is leading this EDIC. And also we are leading the health imaging EDIC, which is now under construction following the steps made by Cityverse. So there is no better place to be, and that's one of the reasons why ITI is here working. We have more than 30 years creating technology around data and AI, and also creating facilities to experiment with data to make easier for companies the adoption of data, these novel data technologies, also novel regulations, novel standards, and novel business models, for example. So our aim is to accelerate the adoption of the data economy in Spain and also in Europe. But let me talk about a bit the Spanish level. As Ulrich said, we are now, and you will agree with me, in the data age, we can say. So there are many data rocks that potentially can become a diamond, but now they are rocks, and there are a lot of opportunities, but with no absence of risks. Talking about opportunities at the Spanish level, we have very powerful sectors in tourism, as mentioned, but also agriculture, agri-food, retail, health, industry, and also mobility, transport. And we are trying to exploit those opportunities in those sectors, but also taking into account the risks. And this is one of the reasons why Gaia-X is running, was created some years ago, because we need to overcome this risk about sovereignty, portability, transparency, security, privacy, interoperability, and that is where we are working on. So the data-driven economy, to be a reality, at least needs these four elements. In a first approach, we need regulations and standards to build on very stable basis. Also, we need technological convergence, and Data Spaces Business Alliance is making a very good work in creating this convergence of standards, of technologies, building blocks. We need to create awareness, and this is one example, a good example about events and how the technologies, those technologies can create impact in different sectors. And we need experimentation to help, as I said before, companies in this approach to the data economy. We have, in Spain, we have a very favorable framework for the development of the data economy. We have all the Digital Spain program or plan, artificial intelligence strategy, recovery plan, and we are also working, and we have created a standardization subcommittee for the data spaces, specifically for the data spaces, in order to define our own, always following the European and international directions, but define our way of talking about data spaces. And regarding technology, one of the 4 pillars I mentioned before, we have a very strong technological ecosystem with very well-known companies. At the Spanish hub, we have created a funny term, which is Spaniards in the world, because we have a lot of key people in key initiatives in Europe. We can see, you can see Spanish people working on big data value, Gaia-X, fireware, IDSA. So we have people and we have entities, SMEs for sure, research centers, universities, and we have in the Spanish plan for boosting the data economy. You will see, and Ruth del Campo, the general director, the data general director, will explain this afternoon at 2 o'clock. But we have, or they have put 44 million for creating technology, Spanish technology related to data spaces. We have one of the other elements, which is the experimentation ecosystem. We have a strong experimentation ecosystem. We have the 4 kind of hubs that the Data Spaces Business Alliance has defined. For sure, iSpaces from BDBA, iHubs from Fireware, also the Gaia-X hub, for sure, I'm representing, and the IDSA hub. So we can work with company in this kind of sandbox or test before invest, safe environment to test before invest. And we have, as I said before, several lighthouse sectors where the ministry has put a lot of resources, and Ulrich anticipated 500 million, but 400 for use cases in those, not exclusively in those sectors, but these are the main sectors where we are working at the Spanish level with a lot of resources from Spain. And regarding awareness, and many other things, not just awareness, but Gaia-X Spanish Hub is playing an important role in creating this awareness around Spain for the data economy. We started in July 2021, the hub, not the association, and this is the official launch of the hub. The association was created in 2022, in March, in Talavera de la Reina, with a lot of policy and support from the government. And these are our goals and principles. First, we want to consolidate the data economy in Spain, creating awareness and communication, and also training and education around data and AI. We want to promote the creation of data spaces in Spain and also to contribute to the creation of the European data spaces from Spain. Our principles are public-private collaboration. We have made this in collaboration with the Ministry, with the Secretary of State of Digitalization and Artificial Intelligence. We are neutral, technologically neutral. Inclusiveness, we want to be independent, we want to lead at the Spanish level, and we need to be economically sustainable. We have continued, after the creation, we have continued working and organizing events and activities related to Gaia-X, and this is the Tech-X in Bilbao, which was in 2023. And also, as I said before, the Gaia-X Summit in 2023 as well in Alicante in November. And last year, we organized at the Spanish level the first Data Spaces Summit, the Spanish Data Spaces Summit in December, 2 days, very successful event where we talked about all the initiatives. More than 75 projects are running now to create data spaces or use case for data spaces. So it's an important an important ecosystem that we are creating. And just to conclude, we are we can say we are a well-coordinated public-private partnership. We are working together with the Secretary of State and the Gaia-X Hub, the association, and also in coordination and collaboration with the market. We need to make these three elements work together to boost the data economy in Spain, to promote the data spaces at the Spanish level and also at European level, to promote the enrichment of data ecosystems. We will play at the Gaia-X Hub, we will play a very important role in the data spaces kit, which is one of the kit with 127 million euros. We are guiding, training, and facilitating the experimentation to companies, and we are promoting the creation of technology at the Spanish level. So this is what we are doing, and we want to create a bright future for Spain and also for Gaia-X and for Europe in data spaces in the data economy. So thank you and welcome to Market-X.
Thank you, Danny. So here again in Valencia, you know that we are in the third biggest city in Spain after Madrid and Barcelona. I will not speak about football today, so no, better not. We are waiting for you, Xavi. Okay, Valencia is the third biggest city. If you speak about Valencia to Spanish people, they will think in Las Fallas. Do you know Las Fallas, the foreign people? If you come to Valencia, you will put fire everywhere. Firework, they are expert in fire. But also in health. Here in Valencia, we have one of the biggest pole of health with the Hospital de la Fe Hospital Clinic in Valencia, and one of the main biomedical research centers in Spain. Our next speaker, he will represent Valencia, but if you ask him, he will say he's an athlete and a sportler, because he was a sportler the whole life, and he was working a lot of time in biomedical research of sport. But now he will give the welcome to Valencia, and he is the Innovation Director of Valencia City. Thank you, David Rosa.
Good morning, everyone. In the reality, I'm David Rosa. I'm the director of the Innovation Center of the city. Normally, these kind of speeches are normally made by the Councillor of the Innovation, Investment and Tourism, Paula Llobet, but she is attending another event, and I'm going to try to be as best as possible. I'm a sportman. I'm working in sport, technology, health for many years. But the reality is today I'm going to speak about the strategy of the city focused on for the next 5-6 years. It's reality that I'm working in the council from the last 5 years. I was working in the private sector practically all my life, in Microsoft, in different technology companies. And the reality now is, you mentioned in your introduction, the position of Valencia now is totally different from the last years. I mean, during the previous years, we are working in a lot of different kind of sectors, like trying to put Valencia on the map, not only for the tourists, for the technology, for the economical development, for the startups. But the reality now is the situation quite different, because all the technology and entrepreneur ecosystem is under the same councillor. It's something new, and we are creating one common strategy for all of the different kind of things related with innovation, entrepreneurs, and technology. Why it's a different moment? Because we want to put Valencia in the map, not only for the tourists. We want to be the most relevant city of the Mediterranean area, focused on sport and entrepreneurs. Again, why? It's because in many different kind of publications, you can see that Valencia now is the best city in the world for life. The reality is we have a lot of digital nomads are living in Valencia at total different levels, from senior, from different companies, and it's something that is happened, and we need to try to understand what is the best way for use for the local ecosystem. And in like a big umbrella, we are working in a global strategy. We are calling Valencia Innovation Capital, and I'm going to make you a small brief of topics. The reality is the notes from my councillor are 7 pages. And more technical, and I make 1 page. I'm going to try to simplify in 1 page. The Valencia Innovation Capital is the naming that we are creating for the innovation strategy of the city. We want to put Valencia in the map like a most interested city for investment, entrepreneurs, and to create open innovation, especially related with the Mediterranean area. We are creating a lot of different kind of alliances with different cities around Europe, Helsinki, Tallinn, Lisbon, Munich. But we know that Valencia is Valencia. We are not going to create any fighting session with Munich or other regions. We want to understand our situation. We are the third city in Valencia from the economical point of view, from the citizens' number point of view. But for the innovation and technology, we want to be the second. We don't want to be the third. And we want to be the first in the Mediterranean area. We are working in 2 different big blocks. I'm going to try to simplify as best as possible. We are calling Valencia Innovation Lab. Our main client is the council. Maybe it's the more related with your activity because we are working in the GovTech program. We are creating different challenges to try to create some solutions to solve some problems of the city. You need to understand that the city normally it's working with the products of the solution are really near to the market because is where our competencies make sense. We are working with the universities too, more related with the deep tech and these kind of things, but we are not buying deep tech, or we are not buying when the products are in RTL 4, 5, or 6. We need to test, according to your presentation, we need to make some tests about the technology when it's really near to the market. Why? Because at the end of the process, we can use our sandbox. We have a big sandbox in the city. We are the unique city in Spain that we have a regulatory sandbox. We have everything prepared to simplify as much as possible for testing the technology in a real situation. For the national companies, they can use directly the protocols inside of the Spanish, or inside of the website of the council. And for the foreign companies, you can use Gaia if you want, or you can use the Valencia Innovation Capital Foundation. And we are going to simplify your arrive or your reach to the sandbox of the city. Following with the concept of the lab, I say you that we have the GovTech program, we have the challenges program, we are sending challenges with 50K budget, only to try to test some solutions in different sectors, mobility, lighting, building, everything related with the different kind of services of the city. We are managing the European projects. Maybe the most relevant project that we are managing now is the THITCOM project and the EDIC related with the Cityverse. Valencia is the unique city in Spain that is managing the 2 EDICs that Spain is leading now. One is the Cityverse, and the other one is the analysis of the images for the cancer. Both EDICs are managing from Valencia, and the technical people of these 2 EDICs are in the same building because we are trying to create as much synergy as possible. We know that some people are working in cancer, and the other people is working in Cityverse, but the common space is the data. Because many of the concepts that they're using to analyze the data, are not exactly the same, but the base below these concepts, we are creating a lot of synergies between the 2 EDICs. The other important thing is related with experimentation. Using the slide from Daniel, we want to put Valencia like a leader in the world for the testing. We want to be the testing city of the world. We have a really good weather. The city is not so big. You can see from here. We are not Barcelona, we are not Madrid, we are not Munich, and we have the sandbox protocol prepared, and now it's launching. We have more than 10 companies using the sandbox. If you want to test something, some technologies, we are open to do it. We have all the protocols prepared to simplify the testing in a real situation, your solutions. Following for that, after the sandbox, we have the public procurement innovation protocols. We are still not using. We have the budgets, but we need to put in place. This is everything related with the city when we are speaking about the lab. The main client is the council. We are providing services for the services of the council. The other important big block is the ecosystem, is where we are creating all the relationships with the startups, corporates, and we are managing all the different kind of programs. Programs for startups, open innovation, collaboration with the big corporates. We are creating the courses and the talent program to make different courses to help the entrepreneurs and not entrepreneurs to move forward in his concepts, knowledge, and I mean, a lot of different kind of courses. We have a soft landing program, focus, especially when some companies want to test if they want to be in Valencia or not. We are giving 6 months of use of our building for his offices. They can send us 5, 6, 7 people. They can test if Valencia is the city that they want to create the next offices or something similar, but we are giving this possibility. We are calling soft landing test or soft landing program, and it's really, really easy to use. It's only an agreement, like a MOU, and you can send us 4, 5, 6, 7 people to test if Valencia is your final destination. We have a roadmap. We are going to be in 11 different cities around the world, expanding the Valencia concept, and we are creating some grants to support the innovation and the entrepreneurs especially. We are now in the team, we are 56 people. We are going to grow to 70 from today to the end of the year. Practically all the team are technicians, are technical people, and we are managing around 9 million euros per year. In this period, in this new political period, we are going to manage around 30 millions, focused to boost the innovation and the entrepreneurs ecosystem, and we want to create an impact around 100 million euros, the impact on the city, creating this kind of synergies between the public and the private companies. We are a really open city. You know it perfectly. We are in a special situation because all the areas related with technology are under the same umbrella. You are going to know Ernesto Faubel during the days. He is the CEO of the Smart City platform. And if you need any other kind of information or you need to know more about the possibilities of the city, you only need to write me. You can find me in LinkedIn or write me directly to my email. And please, you are in Valencia. This is an amazing city. Enjoy the days for the Congress. And today I'm going to leave because I need to be in another meeting, but I'm going to return tomorrow to be with you. Thank you to be here. Thank you to come to Spain, to the Valencia region, and to the Valencia city especially, and enjoy the rest of the Congress. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Thank you.